Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the first video of the year and I'm very excited about it. It's a man soap called Vetiver and I'm gonna be starting by mixing the colors because whenever I'm using pigments I like to mix them up beforehand so they have time to sit a little bit in the oils. So you can see here I mix it with oil. The first one is ultramarine blue pigment and the other one is black oxide pigment, and I just mix them into olive oil. You can also use sweet almond oil or rapeseed oil, whatever you have at hand. And then titanium dioxide, I use the water soluble one and I just put it into warm water. Then I have this milk frother or coffee frother, and then I just mix it up and then I just leave it there with a little stick and ready to go whenever I'm ready for the color part. I have here my oils and the lye water solution, checking the temperature to make sure that they are about the same temperature, about 10 degrees apart. Then I add the stick blender and I blend until emulsion. So what I like to do practically all the time is to use sodium lactate in my lye water solution when it's cooled down. I just feel that it makes unmolding much easier. So once the soap is completely emulsified, I'm going to split off the batter in different containers so I can color them differently. Just gonna eyeball it. The bigger part is going to be white, so I'm going to add the titanium dioxide into the bigger part of the soap. And then this one is the blue pigment. Absolutely like this color here. It's always a little bit difficult for me to get the right blue. Sometimes it turns out greenish, so I like this pigment very much. I'm going to add the black iron oxide in the third jug here and then stick blend it, starting with the lightest color and advancing to the darkest color, just because I don't want to clean the stick blender in between. Do you see that blue? It reminds me of jeans, of denim fabric, and I absolutely love it. Might be that I need a little bit more black, because I don't want it to be like pitch black, but I want it to be like a dark gray for this type of swirl that I want to make.
But something that you can always apply whenever you're making soap or other kind of skincare projects is add your color little by little, because you can always add, but you can never take it back. So I'm very happy with this dark gray color here.
Then I'm going to go ahead and with a spatula I'm going to make sure that all the pigments, all the color is well incorporated into a mixture, also from the sides of the jugs, etc. And then here's the fragrance oil. I'm just going to eyeball it here, like the majority into the white part and so forth. And what I like to do for the fragrance oil is I just like to mix it in by hand. I feel there is no need to stick blend it. Sometimes you could overdo it and then your batter is getting too thick, and that's not good. Depending on what you want to do for this type of soap here, I would like to attempt a in the pot swirl. So I'm just going to use this big container here as my main container, and then I want to go up high just to make sure that I can penetrate to the bottom of the soap so that everything gets a colored swirl in it whenever I'm pouring. Same with the black part, and I'm just keeping a little bit for the decoration of the top. So I'm taking my mold here that I prepared. This is the Brambleberry 5-pound mold with a silicone liner. I absolutely love it. It is fantastic and it unmolds so easy. So I'm just gonna pour the soap. You can see it gives a nice swirl. I'm not gonna keep any of the main part here. I'm just gonna scrape it out. And then I'm gonna do the same with the blue. I absolutely love this color here. and I think it's absolutely fantastic for men. Scrape it out as good as I can, let's say, and then same with the black part. I also like the contrast. I love the color combination. And then once I have everything on the top, I'm just gonna clean a little bit here. I made a mess like always, but you know, as we say here, if it doesn't get messy, then it's not funny. And then I have a chopstick here, a little bit a thicker one than the usual kebab stick, and then I'm just gonna make a figure 8 or something similar on top. And you could take also a spoon and make a spoon texture top or whatever. I like to wait a little bit so that you can really see like a texture and that it's not completely flat. I somehow love this. You can see here it has some, you know, texture, some bumps in it. I think it's absolutely pretty. So I'm going to spritz it with some rubbing alcohol on top to prevent soda ash, and then the only thing left to do really is to leave it for about 24 hours. You could also leave it longer. Maybe it's even better to leave it longer because it makes the cutting and the unmolding really easy, but with sodium lactate you should be good to go. Then a little tip that I would like to share regarding the cleaning. What I do is I just leave my dishes and my spatulas and everything that was in contact with soap for 24 hours. Then it becomes soap and then it's very easy to clean. So it's the next day. Actually, it's 2 days later because I didn't have time. So you can see it's very easy to take out of the frame, if you want to call it that way, and then it unmolds so easy from the silicone liner. What I like to do before I cut the soap is to just run this little tool here. I got it from Brambleberry, but I can also put a link down in the description box where you can find it on Amazon, as well as all other equipment that I'm using. You can find links. So I just run it across the edges here, so I just need to do it once instead of having to do it on each separate individual soap bar. So then you can see here the multi-bar cutter, and I just firmly press it through the soap to discover the swirl, how it turned out. That's always a surprise, and I think it's always very exciting when you get to see the inside of the soap for the first time. So I think they didn't turn out so bad. I love it. You can see this white color here. It will turn out whiter after 1-2 days and so forth. And then before I take the next part of the soap, I just clean it with some kitchen paper just to make sure that I don't drag soap through the new soap bar here, so to speak. If you want to stamp your soap, a little trick is whenever you have these thin slices at the end, typical soap that you use as sample or as a tester, I take these ones to see whether or not I'm happy with the stamping. And if you see that it is too soft, then just give it a little bit more time. You can also give it 1 more day. It really depends on your recipe. Typically, I stamp it 1 hour or 2 hours after the cutting. This one here, I unmolded this soap after 2 days, so I could stamp it immediately. This is an acrylic stamp. It was custom made by a soap stamp maker. I'm sure that you can find a stamp maker where you live as well. I personally like to use a rubber mallet. I place the stamp on the soap where I want to have it, and then I give it a light tap on each side of the stamp, and then you can see that the stamp is really sinking into the soap, and then you're done. Now they are going to go on the curing rack for about 4 to 6 weeks before they are ready to be sold and used. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing if you're interested in more soap making videos or skincare DIY. And I see you around very soon for another video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.